All right, so this is our last night. I think everybody's ready to move on. And the War Within is here. Get done with the Radiant Echoes event. Um, Next week will be our first guild event night for the War Within. And I realize not everyone has the Epic Edition pre-ordered, so for some people, you'll be waiting until the next weekend to do anything. Um, but on the 24th, we will do our first guild harvesting night in lieu of a raid because we're not going to be starting any raids until mid-October, maybe early October. We'll see how quickly everybody gets to 70, so that timeline might be adjusted for raid starts. It's just going to depend on when we all get leveled through, everybody gets their earthen characters created, leveled where they want them to be, and then we can start looking at the raids. So I think we estimated 6 weeks, which may be more than a buffer and more than enough, but we'll see. But next weekend, on Saturday night, we will do like a guild harvesting run. I don't know yet what we'll do. I'm assuming the starter zone for the War Within. Maduros, you played quite a bit of beta, didn't you? I didn't really jump
Yeah, a
in too
good bit.
much.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm assuming we can expect to see typical like Dragonflight where we roll in and it's just going to be you got your mining nodes, you kill a bunch of mobs, and we could just go in as a guild and just swath across the countryside.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, that's what.
Yeah, the crafting's very similar.
Okay, to Dragonflight. That'll be good. So I would say anybody who wants to be crafting, be thinking ahead because Saturday nights for at least the next few weeks, I want the Saturday nights is just going to be show up. We're going to harvest as much as we can, and it's just going to all get dumped into the guild bank so that we can get people leveled up as quickly as possible as crafters, so that we can be ready to go on whatever is like the best gear that we want. And for cosmetics and everything else, because now we can do cosmetics across the war bands, and that's going to be a big thing for a lot of people. So we'll have that as the main priority for Saturday nights. We'll probably need to. Rainy, did you say you wanted to help with crafting? I can't remember. Somebody did.
Yeah.
I will ping you sometime this weekend, or early next week, and maybe we can brainstorm a little bit about crafting stuff, um, to sort of start to put an idea together of who wants to do what and how we deal with the resources and all that other stuff. And anybody who wants to be involved in that as a crafter, we do have a crafting channel that we've not yet done a lot with. So we're going to start to utilize that. I'll definitely be going leatherworking, but skewed more towards, and I understand there's lots of specialties. I'm not an expert on the dragonflight crafting style, so um, that's where I have a lot to learn and how it's going to be working here. I know Maduros has a lot of experience with that as
Same.
well. Um, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's going to be some of us who have a lot to learn. Um, but as I understand it, it's like if I go leatherworking and I specialize towards like gear that's good for the Moonkin Druid, someone else can come in and still do leatherworking and spec towards a different aspect of armor crafting, correct?
Yeah, you
Oh yeah.
leatherworking's got mail and everything in it too. So,
Oh, okay,
you know, I know like my hunter's got leatherworking for the mail.
perfect. So that's something we can iron out in the crafting section is who's going to be focused on what specialization so that as we start to come across all the components, we know who to funnel them to. So there's a crafting channel. We'll start to use it. Um, and we're going to be doing harvesting nights on Saturday. Let me make a note here. Apart from that, in terms of recruitment, I would say anybody who's interested, we're still kind of at a holding pattern until we see how many people come back from their hiatus into the War Within. I don't know how many people are here tonight. We've got like 15, 14, 15 people. I would say I kind of think we'll have 15. It feels like we're going to have 15, 20 people going into the War Within. And we may not need to stress too much about recruitment at the moment, but as we start to get towards what everyone starts the war within with may not be the character that they decide to raid with, if that makes sense. Like I don't necessarily plan on raiding with the druid. I would like to get an earthen paladin leveled up. Um, Once we have all that lined out and we have a raid list, we may need to um, strategically pick up a few people. I've had half a dozen people reach out in the Discord, leave their interest. Um, I guess we could just keep an eye on people and decide when and if we're ready to start opening up the doors to more because we only need 10. Does it still? Someone said last time we talked about this that There's a scaling thing between 10 and 14 or something like that where the difficulty just pumps up. I can't remember. But in any case,
It flexes, yeah. If you have more than the more that you have over 10, it's kind of like the more that everybody kind of needs to be pulling their weight, if that
okay,
makes
it
sense.
makes total sense. Which brings me to the next step, which is I know this got discussed at the end of our Dragonflight normal run. We reached a point where because we were up against the wall with the clock, because they were changing the gear score system, we ran out of time to do Firak. Um, and so we shouldn't have that issue here, but I do know we've already talked about it in one of our officer meetings that we're probably going to be looking at implementing. We did this a little bit Dragonflight. We had some gear requirements for people to be like, you need your gear score to be here before we can attempt this raid. We're going to have to be looking at that. I don't know what that number will be yet, but be conscious of that because um, at some point in order to be able to do the raids, we will have to have everybody be paying attention to their gear score, and that might mean doing something more than just showing up on like Saturday night for the raids. There may be some additional time needed to like bump up a couple points of gear score, but we don't plan on doing beyond normal mode, so I don't know what that number will be yet. But we'll be looking at that on a case-by-case basis as soon as we hit a brick wall that we think we need to overcome. But we did
Grind
pretty.
gear, people. Grind gear.
um, I feel like we did really good on Dragonflight, and had we had more time with Firak, I think we would have been fine. But we only ended up having like those 2 or 3 weekends before they changed the gear score, and we just were like, well, let's just go on do them on looking for fellowship mode. Um,
For War Within, is there any roles that we should be concentrating on that maybe we don't have enough of?
I would like to, yeah, I don't know yet. That's going to be something where as we approach like early October, and people start to finalize what they want to raid with, we'll probably do a roll call and take a look at what we have, and then think about does anybody want to as they're rolling up alts and everything else. I don't know quite yet. We could probably even start that now if people already know what they have planned. Let me jot that down in
Well,
my
I've got
notes.
one of like everything, so just tell me what you want me to play, and I'll be good.
I think an important part of that would be if you're someone that's offering to be a tank and maybe less so the healers. I think would think more so the tanks. Um, Hopefully, those are the players that are going to be a little bit more consistently available each week, rather than have
Correct.
somebody that's like, "Oh yeah, I'll tank," and then you're not going to show up for
So
for 4 weeks, and we're
I
struggling to try and compensate for that.
I love that you mentioned that. Mads, you're still planning on tanking with the Pally, right?
Yes, sir.
So my objective, I've already talked about this in a couple meetings ago, is to avoid that issue cropping up, Rainy, because this happened during Dragonflight. We had ended up having some tank issues towards the end. I've always been the main tank for the guild. Every time we've done this for like the last 10 years as a community. This is the first time where I kind of didn't do that and I left the reins open and let Maduros take charge. And I am going to be bringing an Earthen Paladin up so that I can balance against Maduros because one of us will always be there. And then as we have other people who have other like protection warrior, I know Duck had done a lot of tanking for us during the previous season. I think Jal, you were leveling up a paladin, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got 6 paladins.
Okay, so we'll have. I would like to say that we'll at least have Mads and I to cover any main tanking duties, but then there will definitely be opportunities for other people to step into that role because I know Mads gets called away for work sometimes. I may need to deal with something from time to time, so there will definitely be roles for other people to step into the tanking positions. But to hopefully alleviate any of that issues happening, I do plan on maining a paladin in the raids once I've leveled it up alongside Maduros, and then we can fill in the gaps between there as needed. So we should be able to hopefully stay away from that happening, because that did get a
All right.
little.
Sometime around October of next year, we'll be good to go with Ren.
The, the reason why I asked though is because I have a Blood Death Knight that I enjoyed playing in Panda, but I don't know if I will enjoy playing it in this.
Right, and that's why I was suggesting everybody just wait. We'll take, as we get to talking about a roll call. I mean, I don't want people to, I don't think anybody, not everyone's going to know what they want to raid with right now. So I want to give people a few weeks to figure out what they want to play first. But we definitely have tanks covered. I know we're going to need healers. Um, so we'll stretch our legs out from beyond there as we get going.
I'm gonna start leveling with Tammy, and then you know we can have that discussion, and I can, like I said, I've got like one of everything, so
Okay, cool.
I can I'll do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, and I'm leveling up the druid through the War Within, so I should be able to be there for any groups that happen in any role, whether it be resto druid. I'm spec balanced, but I'm comfortable healing. I'm comfortable tanking as needed on that character. But I will, once I get the paladin leveled up, that'll be the I'll keep this guy for questing and stuff, but I want the pally to be there for the Saturday night stuff and for dungeon tanking.
Could I mention something,
Yep,
Ren? Just
go for
as
it.
I've seen the question floating around, and just for anyone that was concerned about it, as long as we're doing normal mode, it doesn't matter if you're Horde or Alliance. It only matters that we would all need to be Alliance if we're doing LFR, because you can't queue in cross faction. But as long as we're doing normal modes, it doesn't matter if you want to play Horde or Alliance, you'll still be able to participate.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that because I did forget to bring that back up because we were doing that last year up until we switched over to LFF. So we can go back to that Horde, whatever you want to main. And also, does anyone know how is the new cross faction guild stuff working now? Because
Really good.
so does that mean that you can join from any server and then you get into the group and you get into our instance like we are right now here in the bank and then you can go do raids and groups and stuff?
Yep, you can even get into the guild bank now.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. Okay.
That's sweet.
That is sweet. Because somebody asked me the other day, and I was like, you know what? I don't know enough about how it works yet to answer your questions, so I haven't tested that out at all. Um, cool. All right. The only other thing I can think of on the meeting stuff, and then I'll open it up to anybody who's got any other questions or comments stuff, is going to be the guild bank. Um, I'm just going to give everybody tomorrow. If you want anything out of the guild bank, whether it be resources or whatever, you have all day tomorrow and all day night tonight. Go grab whatever you want because I'm clearing the bank out on Monday, and I'm just going to be deleting shit. So I would say any sort of resources you think you need from there, grab. We could always use. Go ahead.
Please just don't delete it. Sell it on the auction house.
Well, I
and
don't
put the
know.
money-
I don't know
but just-
what's what.
It,
So.
but just sell it for whatever it comes up with, and then just take all that money and just put it in the guild bank and use it as repairs.
All right, I will check that out.
Just don't delete it, dude. You'd be surprised how much money's in there.
Okay, that's a good tip. My whole thing is the act of going through and trying to figure out what's the best price for everything is a time nightmare that I don't want to deal with. But if it's just stick it on the auction hall, whatever it defaults to, and sell it.
Yep.
All right, I can take care of that. And anybody else who wants to do that as well, feel free to help because there's a lot of stuff in there. But tonight, tomorrow, anything you want in there, grab it. Because my plan is Monday morning I'm going to log in and anything that's left, I'll stick it in the auction hall. We'll sell it because I want to start the expansion with a clean bank, and then we will in the crafting channel we'll sort out what tabs are going to be for crafting mats and regions, and I'll probably open up some more of the bank slots because I think only the first 3 or 4 are available to members. We've got all 7 of them. I'll probably keep the last 1 or 2 just for the officers and captains and stuff, but then we might be able to open all the other ones first. But then anybody who wants to contribute, you always can. I think we've got like 275,000 gold in there or something right now, so we're not like starving for money. And once we start raiding, I will make those funds available for guild repairs. I just always got to be prompted to remember to turn it on. Because I always freaking forget. I got nothing else. Anybody have any other questions, comments, etc. to talk about before we wrap up for the evening?
I got nothing.
I can't think of anything now.
I was just going to add to what you were talking about with us waiting to figure out what everybody wants to play. These are the talents that you have now are the final talents. But when you get into hero talents, your class may play completely different than
That's a
what
good
you're
point.
used to. And you might not like it the way it plays. And you might end up liking something you never played before.
been trying to watch videos that come out, especially trying to make sure that
That is a good tip.
Yeah, because I mean, there's classes like Windwalker. I know a lot of people stayed away from Windwalker, but with the hero talents they have, they play very fluid now. They got rid of a lot of the button bloat that they had. Subtlety rogues they got rid of some of the button bloat, but depending on how you spec in your hero talents, all those buttons are replaced with other buttons. And
So is the Windwalker the monk healer, or is that? I didn't get deep enough into the monk.
DPS,
It's the DPS one. I was gonna say.
yeah,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good point because I haven't even dug into what I want to do for my druid yet. I'm assuming something nature damage related, but I'd forgotten all about the hero talents and how that's going to change classes. That's a good one, Mads. Thanks.
Yes, and every spec is going to have access to 2 different sets of hero talents. You have to choose one set, obviously, but some of them will play completely different. I know, like warlocks, they'll get like they have destruction instead of using like immolate. You use wither, which is an
that
instant
changed for
cast
both.
dot. Yep,
Yeah, it changed
stuff
both
like
that for corruption and for the I can't remember what it is for the destruction.
yeah, and
Nice.
where like affliction was in a rough spot during this expansion, it's pretty good with the hero talents.
Yeah, I love my affliction warlock on Panda.
I've got a couple of I don't know how many people use these, but I had a couple of these stashed in the guild bank, and since we're all here outside of the guild bank, let me put these in raid chat. I guess we'll do these one at a time. If you don't have one of these and you want one of these, we'll just do, what is it, a roll or whatever. I've got a couple of battle pets. I've got a stitched pup. If you guys want to roll on that, like 1 to 100 or whatever, and high roll wins. I got another one too. I don't know if anybody needs these. You might already have these. I don't know where these came from, but they're in the guild bank. It's really super easy. It's a solo game, a lot like Star Wars: The Old Republic now. Brett play game. It's Brett, but I'm spelling it out for people who might be watching from Twitch too. Victorious has been super casual with WoW in recent years. I always had trouble finding a good guild, so I'm very excited for the new solo con, especially Delves. Yeah, War Within's awesome. Everything's solo now. It's great. All right, so we got 3 rolls. Nartim, where are you at? Can I trade?
am actually. I'm not.
You're not
with you
here.
right at this moment.
Let me see if I
I'm,
can mail it to you.
I can get over there real quick. I didn't know we were going to be at the bank.
Oh, it's all good. I can send it
Well-
in the mail. I think I can send this in the mail. I'm about to drop it in the mailbag. Stitched pup. Send. All right, you have been sent the mail, sir.
Cool.
I got one more, guys. So anybody who wants this one, go ahead and roll 1 to 100. God, that's hideous, guys. Ugh. I've never gotten into battle pets. I totally need to. I watched some videos the other day and it looks super fun. But it's like a whole nother just little mini game thing. All right, Lip's the only one rolling on that one. All right, default win.
Yeah.
Wrap your lips around this.
Art down, control, look first.
Trade. All right, cool. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you very much. Good times.
Let's go War Within.
Time for the War Within.
Yay.
Thursday night. I don't know. Do we have a timeline on when the servers are coming up on Thursday night?
Probably
it's-
6 p.m.
I think it's 5 Central, 5 Pacific or something.
If
It
it works the
depends.
way it has in the past, the server won't go down. Basically, the switch flips and you'll be able to go. at
Oh,
6 o'clock.
so they did kind of like with I was because I was there for the Wrath Classic launch, and that's how they did it too. I didn't realize that's how they did it for everything.
Yeah, that's how that's traditionally how they've done it. They, who knows what could possibly happen beforehand if something breaks or whatnot. But usually it's just when the clock turns over, then the quest or the whatever becomes available that sends you on your way.
Sweet.
Isn't the big downtime date this Tuesday?
Well, they already
Yeah.
patched a bunch of stuff in too.
Yeah, they have an extended maintenance on Tuesday.
Yeah, just 3 hours is what they're forecasting.